and welcome back to another video. So today I decided to take on the quick to judge tag. And I was kindly tagged to do this by Bonnie Nicole Wrights. I'll leave her channel linked down below. But this sounds like such a fun one to take on, and I can't wait to try this. Alright, so the way that this is gonna work is first I'll pick 5 to 10 unread books from my shelves, and then I'll read the first paragraph of each book, and the result of this is that I'm going to be ranking the books. After each book, you can let me know if you think that one's going to be the winner or not, and at the end I will announce which of the books is the highest ranked, and this will be added to my immediate TBR. This sounds like a really fun little game to try out, so I'm excited. Hopefully I will end up with some good picks here. Okay, so I think I'm gonna pick 5 books from these shelves behind me. I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna do this, but I think I'm just gonna randomly pick. So there's 6 shelves. There's 6 shelves, so I will pick 1 book from each of the shelves, I think, except for the bottom shelf, because the bottom shelf is my classics and my Outlander books, so those are just not gonna be part of this, but I'll pick 1 book from each of the other shelves, and I'll be random, so I think I'm gonna do a little random number generator, and I will count the number of books on each of the shelves, put that into the generator, and then it'll tell me which number book I have to pick from that. So that book is the one that I will be pulling out and reading the first paragraph from. Okay, so I already counted, and on the very top shelf, which you can't see here, it has 22 books. So 22 is going to be going into my random number generator, and then it's going to generate me a random number, and that's going to be the one from 1 to 22. That's going to be the random book that will be chosen from that shelf. So let me generate that, and it generated 22. So the 22nd book on that shelf, going from left to right, the last book is going to be the book that will be part of this challenge. All right, and then I'll put in the little screenshot to show you that I'm not cheating, but I did get 22 first. And so the first book that I'm gonna be reading the first paragraph of is On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. This is perfect because this book has been on my TBR for so long, and it was on a couple of monthly TBRs this year, but I haven't gotten to it yet. So excited to see what the other choices are gonna be going up against this. All right, so the next shelf has 17 books on it, and you also can't see it. It's like right up here, but that shelf has 17, so I'm gonna do a random number, generate that. So it's gonna be the 7th book going from left to right on that shelf, and that's gonna be the one that I'm reading the random number for. And again, I did a screenshot of my screen so you can see that I actually did the random numbers. I'm not cheating at this, but this is going to be the one that I will be reading the synopsis for. All right, so the 7th book on this shelf is The Iron Widow by Siren Shea Zhao. So I'm excited to read this one, the first paragraph, and see how I feel about it. It's one that I've also had for a very long time, and I actually bought this secondhand, so excited to see how I feel about this. All right, and then I just did a quick count, and this shelf right here has 29 books. So I put that into my random number generator, and we're going to generate a random number. It's gonna be 15. So the 15th book on this shelf, going from left to right, that's gonna be the one that is gonna be my 3rd pick. All right, so the 15th book on the shelf is Real Americans by Rachel Khong. I know that this is like historical fiction, I think, and this is a book of the month book, so I don't really remember anything else about it, but I'm excited to read the first paragraph and see what I think of it. All right, and then this shelf behind me right here has 17 books on it, so I will be putting that into my random number generator, and then the number is 12. So number 12, going from left to right, is gonna be my choice for the 4th book that I'm gonna use in this challenge. All right, so book number 12 on this shelf is Babylonia by Costanza Casati, and I am curious about this one. I know this is like a mythology retelling. It says King's Fall and Queen's Rise at the cover of this. I am curious to see how I feel about the first paragraph, and yeah, I have not read any mythology retellings to this point, but hopefully this will be really interesting and keep me gripped. All right, and then the last shelf I'm gonna use is this shelf down here, this one right here, and it's behind my chair, so you can't really see it, but it has 27 books. So I'm gonna put that in, and then the random number that I'm going to be using is 13. So the 13th book, going from left to right, is going to be the one that I'm going to use for this challenge. Okay, and then that book is going to be Girl in the Creek by Wendy N. Wagner. This is a recent arc that was sent to me. I think it's like a mystery or thriller, so that would be a little bit of a different genre for me, but I'm excited to read the first paragraph of this and let you know what I think. All right, so these are all the books that I'm going to be reading the first paragraph of. So these are 5 books here. We have On the Come Up, Girl in the Creek, Iron Widow, The Real American Americans and Babylonia, and I'm curious to see which one is going to be my top ranked and my lowest ranked. So I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know a lot about any of these books except for On the Come Up, so I'm curious to see how these other 4 will rank. This might be near the top, I don't know, but it might not, depending on how the other ones go. And yeah, I'm excited to read the first paragraph and try them out. I think I'm gonna do it in the order of the books that I picked. So On the Come Up will be first because it was the first book that I picked out. All right, diving into book number 1, On the Come Up. This is gonna be the first paragraph of the book. It says, 1, I might have to kill somebody tonight. It could be somebody I know. It could be a stranger. It could be somebody who's never battled before. It could be somebody who's a pro at it. It doesn't matter how many punchlines they spit or how nice their flow is. I'll have to kill them. Wow, that's a very intense first paragraph for this book. I don't know who she's killing. I don't understand what's happening here. What is happening? We're starting in media res in this one. Oh my god, this is gonna be so hard because I'm curious now. I want to continue with this, but we'll see how it ranks with the other ones. Okay, the next book that I picked out was Iron Widow by Siren J. Zhao, and this is gonna be the first paragraph of that. So we start with a prologue. The Hundans were coming, a whole herd of them, rumbling across the wilds, stirring up a dark storm of dust through the night. Their rotund, faceless bodies, made of spirit metal, glinted under the silver half moon and sky full of glittering stars. This is a lot more flowery writing. I don't know if it's got my attention quite as much as On the Come Up, because that was very intense. I'm a little bit curious. My curiosity's peaked. I don't know how I feel yet, but I'm gonna have to think on this one a little bit. All right, and then the next one is gonna be Real Americans by Rachel Kong, because that was the next book that I picked out. And it says, Beijing 1966. She isn't afraid, but he is. They stand in the darkness before a glass case of old things. A Ming Dynasty inkstone, a chrysanthemum carved from horn, a song painting stamped with ruby red collector's seals, and on a silk pillow so slight could be missed, an ancient lotus seed with a legend behind it. That sounds really intriguing. Why are we looking at these artifacts? I'm curious. I love history and all of that, so this has my curiosity peaked. But again, I'm gonna reserve judgment completely until I've read all of them. Okay, the next one is gonna be Babylonia by Costanza Casati. Ooh, this has some really cool stuff at the beginning of it. And again, we're at a prologue. She kills her lover on the altar of a foreign goddess. It is the month of beginning and the valley is flat and green. The sanctuary stands in the darkening sky with no attendants in sight. Dorsetto walks past the temple's columns. In her arms, her baby stares with eyes as big and bright as moons. Don't worry, Dorsetto thinks. It will be over soon. Interesting. I don't know what's happening here. She's like killed somebody. I'm just trying to figure out what is happening. We're in that valley and she has like a baby that she's responsible for. I don't know. I'm curious. My curiosity's piqued a little bit by this one. I don't know what's happening here, but I'd like to know more. Okay, and then the last one is Girl in the Creek by Wendy N. Wagner. This is the last pick. Let's go to the beginning of this one and then I will let you know what I think of each of the first paragraphs. Let's see. This one says, Chapter 1. The body lay at the very limit of daylight. The last clear place on the stones before the wood framing in the ancient adit began to peel away from the walls and pile up in moldy heaps. I don't know how I feel about this one. I'm gonna have to think on this. This has got a lot of like setting description going on in it. We're getting like the moldy heaps. We're getting just some of this like setup of where we are. It's the limit of daylight, so it's about to be sunset, I think. And there's like some wood framing. I don't know. It's very just descriptive in the first paragraph. I don't know how I feel about this one. I don't think it's gonna be a top ranked one, but I'm gonna have to think about it with the other ones. All right, so Deliberation Time. I don't know what's gonna be my top pick. I think towards the bottom is gonna maybe be Girl in the Creek. I think it was just all about the setting in there. Yes, we know there's this dead body, but we don't know much else. We know that the sun is setting. We know there's like wood around there, but the settings just don't really grip me in books. It's not something that gets me hooked. I like to know a little bit more about a character's insight or something about the plot or anything like that to get me hooked into the story. And this was just like descriptive. So I think this is gonna be my number 5 ranking, unfortunately, but it's still one that I'm curious about and would like to try at some point. I think my number 4 placement is gonna be Real Americans by Rachel Kong. Again, it's a little bit more descriptive. I'm a little more curious about this one because there is some artifacts in it, but there's not a lot going on yet. We know that there is a male that is like having some fear in this, but we don't really know anything else. So there isn't a lot to go off of here yet. So I am gonna rank this number 4. Okay, so 2 and 3 is gonna be very difficult to figure out how to rank these. I think I know what my top pick is already, but I'm gonna look through these next 3 again, just briefly at that first paragraph, I'm gonna say my number 3 choice is gonna be Iron Widow by Siren J. Joe. And I'm still curious about this one. I know that there's like a war being set up, even just from that first paragraph, but it didn't hook me immediately, not in the way that the other 2 did. So this is gonna be number 3. All right, so that leaves 2 options. So these are gonna be my number 1 and 2, but which is gonna be 1 and which is gonna be 2? I have Babylonia, and then I have On the Come Up. So I think I'm more curious about On the Come Up. So my number 2 ranking is gonna be Babylonia by Costanza Casati. This is super intriguing still. I'm really curious about it. It's one that I would love to get to soon. That first paragraph has made me even more intrigued by it than I was previously, so it's gonna definitely be bumped up on my TBR regardless. So of course that means that my number 1 choice is On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. Let me know if you're surprised by this one. I don't think any of us are, but that first paragraph is intriguing. I think that she is like premeditating this murder that she might have to do, and I'm very curious what led her to this situation, the circumstances. And I know that we're starting kind of like in media res like with some of these others, but this one is just the one that captured my attention the most. And I absolutely love The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I read that a number of years ago, and I can't wait to dive into this one. This will be added to my immediate TBR. So I have 3 books I'm in the middle of, 1 more coming up, and then this is gonna be my next read. So this is a super fun journey. I really liked this fun tag. I think that these kind of games are super interesting to do, and I'd love to do more of them. I like that this tag was more unique than some of the other ones, which just ask you questions. But I want to say once again a big thank you to Bonnie Nicole for tagging me to do this. I had a really great time doing this, and now we have what my next read will be. And so I want to say a big thank you to you for tagging me. I'll leave the people that I have tagged to do this down below, and if you saw this and you'd like to try it out yourself, you can definitely do so, and please tag me because I'd love to see how it turns out for you. All right, so that's gonna be it for me. That's gonna be the quick to judge tag. I think it took me a little bit of time to deliberate on each of these. It didn't help that a lot of the first paragraphs were really similar to each other, but I had a great time doing this. And I just want to say that if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to know any of your thoughts of this whole process. Did you guess any of the books that I would rank higher or lower? Did you guess it correctly? Were you totally off? I'd love to know. And I just want to say thank you if you watched this point. Wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, I hope that you are doing well, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!